Okay, so when you picture Santa Claus, what comes to mind? Probably a big, jolly guy in a red suit living it up at the North Pole, right? Well, what if I told you the real story is way older, way more surprising, and starts not with snow, but with a whole lot of sunshine? Yeah, let's get into the true story behind the icon. And just look at this comparison, it's pretty wild. On one side, you've got our modern myth, the North Pole, the reindeer, the whole ho-ho-ho deal. But then, on the other side, you have the actual man. He lived in Turkey, wore sandals, and instead of just dropping off toys, this guy was known for giving away bags of gold. So the big question is, how on earth did we get from point A to point B?
All right, so let's travel back in time. Let's meet the real Nicholas. And his story doesn't start in some magical workshop, but in a busy, sunny town on the coast.
That's right, Turkey. Specifically, a port city called Myra. And right away, that single fact just completely flips the script on the whole North Pole narrative. We're not talking about some icy, magical wonderland. We're talking about a real, historical place on the Mediterranean.
And to really drive that point home, get this. We're talking about an average temperature of about 25 degrees Celsius. That's around 77 Fahrenheit. So forget the snow boots and heavy coats. The original Santa story is much more about sunshine and walking around in sandals. Kinda different, huh?
So, what was his day job? Well, he wasn't a toy maker. Nicholas was actually a bishop in the early Christian church. This means he was a real, respected community leader. His entire reputation wasn't built on magic. It was built on genuine acts of kindness and charity for the people he served.
You see, his legend didn't come from one magic sleigh ride. It grew because people told these incredible stories about his generosity, and they kept telling them for centuries.
This is probably his most famous story. So there's this poor father who's just heartbroken because he can't afford dowries for his 3 daughters. Nicholas hears about this, and wanting to help in secret, he goes to their house late one night and just tosses a bag of gold right through the window. Now, legend has it that one of those bags of gold landed right inside a stocking that was hanging by the fireplace to dry. And boom, just like that, from this one anonymous act of kindness, the tradition of hanging stockings for Christmas was born.
But he wasn't just known for giving secret gifts. Other stories paint him as a true protector. I mean, there are these famous tales of him calming a violent storm at sea to save sailors from a shipwreck. These kinds of stories turned him into this guardian figure for so many people. Basically a real-life superhero, but, in sandals.
So, how did this kind bishop from Turkey become the Santa Claus we all recognize today? Well, his story took a pretty epic journey across the globe, transforming over 1,700 years.
This timeline really lays it all out. It starts way back, around 300 AD, with the real Bishop Nicholas in Myra. For centuries, his story spreads through Europe. In the Netherlands, he becomes this beloved figure called Sinterklaas. Then, fast forward to the 1600s, Dutch settlers bring that Sinterklaas legend with them over to America. And over time, Sinterklaas morphs into Santa Claus. But the final piece of the puzzle? That came in the 1930s, when a hugely popular Coca-Cola ad campaign really cemented the image we all know today, the jolly, red-suited man with the big white beard.
Okay, so when we peel back all those layers of myth and marketing and centuries of stories, what are we really left with? What is the true legacy of St. Nicholas? What's the real message that's managed to stick around for so long?
It's pretty clear he didn't have any of the magical stuff we associate with the modern myth. No sleigh, no flying reindeer, definitely no workshop full of elves.
But what he did have, the very core of his story, was something so much more real, and honestly, something way more powerful.
And this is it. This is the heart of the whole thing. The true legacy of St. Nicholas isn't about getting presents. It's about the spirit of giving. It's about that simple, profound idea of being kind to others without needing any credit or expecting anything in return. That's the real magic. So, this story that started with one kind bishop in a sunny little town in Turkey, it's lasted for over 1,700 years. And it kind of leaves us with a question to chew on. What does this incredible, enduring legacy of pure, selfless generosity inspire in you?